Hi, it's Karen at the Cool Tool Studio, and today I'm going to walk you through how I used our finishing touches molds alongside Cyprus copper clay to make these fun pet tags. For this project, I'm going to be working with some cool slip, a work surface, a palette knife, an ultra clay pick, a brush, a scalpel, and a precision hole punch, a wander roller, some sanding pads, a wick away, clay thickness rolling frames, a template, Cyprus copper clay, alphabet finishing touches molds, a tough card, and some textures. I'm going to start off by preparing my work surface with some cool slip. And now I'm set to roll some clay to 4 cards thickness. And I'm going to be texturing both sides of this clay at once. And I'm working with kind of low relief textures because I'm going to be applying letters on top. And if you have like really high contrast in your surface, you're not going to have a good surface to apply your letters to. So I'm going to cool slip both of my textures. And then I'm setting down one. Setting down my clay, placing my thickness frame, and then setting down my other texture. And I'm not going from 5 to 4 because these texture tiles have a little bit of give to them, so they are going to push down into my clay. So you kind of have to hold it while you get started on the end here, but I'm just going to roll and texture both sides in one go. There we go. And I always like to cut out my shapes on a tough card. That way I don't have to worry about squishing an edge or smudging my design when I move it off to dry. And I'm just going to pick a part on my pattern that I like best. I'm going to gently cut this shape out. Whenever there's like sharp corners, I always like to cut towards those so I'm not rounding them out. And when I'm cutting, I'm not really applying a lot of pressure. I'm just kind of gliding along that edge. Remove this excess clay here. And then I'm going to use a precision hole punch to make a hole to hang my tag from. And I'm using the small yellow one because I'm going to use a jump ring to attach mine to any collar or anything. But if you're going to use like a standard tag, you might want to use a slightly larger size. Apply a little bit of cool slip. And then I'm looking for about halfway in between there. And again, make sure you're not super close to this edge because the tag's going to swing and kind of wear on that. So you want to position your hole lower on your piece. I'm going to kind of test it out here and see if that looks about center. Looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and punch all the way through. And give it a twist and pull up. So this is good to go. I'm going to let it dry before coming back and sanding it to refine the edge. While the body of my tag is drying, I'm going to get going on making the letters. So since I'm just writing out Cheeto, I don't really want to make all of the letters, so I'm going to use this palette knife with a bit of clay on it to only fill the letters that I want. So I'm pushing down to fill the letter, and then I'm scraping across to clean up any excess. And I kind of scraped a little too hard. You can see at that upper corner of the C, I dragged some out. So I'm going to refill that, and then be more gentle this time. So then I need an H, an E. And I'll have to come back and do another E once these guys are dry. A T. And then an O. And then I'm also going to fill some other letters that I don't need that have a nice long portion of them, because I'm going to cut those into dashes for in between the phone number on the back. So I'm going to make myself an L, a J, and an I. You also want to make your phone number. So obviously I'm not going to put that out into the world, so I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down here. All right, you want to make sure these are completely dry before you try to remove them, or you'll distort or break your shapes. So I'm going to allow these to dry. While those letters are drying, I'm going to refine this shape. And I like to start off with the fine sanding pad if I have any material to remove. And kind of knock down that excess burr there and make sure these corners are nice and crisp without being sharp. And I love sanding pads for this purpose because you can cut them down to the perfect size for your project, and they have enough stiffness to help you establish shape, but also can round out for your curves. So I'm just going to work my way around this fine, again, to just kind of work on the shape a little bit. And then after that, I'm going to work my way from super fine to ultra fine, and then finally micro fine. So I'm just wrapping up with this micro fine along this edge. And now I'm going to come and very gently sand this top surface. And it's a lot easier to refine the surface before you have the letters to kind of work around. And I'm not really trying to remove material or anything. I'm just trying to kind of smooth it out and burnish this so it'll shine up really nicely when we go to polish it. Can't forget the other side. And now we're ready to add our letters and numbers. My letters and numbers are dry, and I'm going to remove them. These don't fall out quite as easily as the other finishing touches do because they have all these internal shapes. So some kind of fell out, but because there's all this material, it's kind of locking that letter in. So I just really quickly pop them out with a pair of tweezers. And I'm just going underneath the letter and then flipping it out. I made myself my extra E, and now I'm ready to apply the word Cheeto to my dog tag. Well, I guess it's a cat tag in this case. Either way, I'm ready to apply my letters. So I like to position them and figure out where they're going to go before I start attaching them with water. So I'm picking them up with tweezers very gently and just kind of placing them, and then I'll be a little more exacting, and then I can scoot them around to be exactly where I want them to be. And if you want to get very particular about this, you can draw yourself a pencil line to try to center your letters on. I kind of find that I just like to fuss with it until it looks right. Once you are happy with how the letters look, you're going to pick them up individually and thoroughly dampen the area before putting the letter back down. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to take off my C, dampen this area. And again, this is why you don't want a texture that's going to be super high in one spot and very low in another, because then your letter is going to be kind of crooked and it's not going to have a lot of surface area to attach to. So you still have a little bit of time to kind of scoot things around once you place it. That looks good. So I'm just going to keep working my way down and attaching my letters. So I'm just going to attach my last letter here. And once I'm satisfied with its placement, I'm going to apply some pressure to all of the letters. Alright, so you've got Cheeto. So I like to use this flat end of my tweezers to really push down and apply some pressure. And that's really going to make these letters stick. And then just to be thorough, I'm going to give everyone one more brush over. I'm going to allow this to dry so I can apply the numbers to the back side. Since this shape was sort of narrow, I kind of broke the phone number up into 2 sections, so I only need the dash here. And I have these letters that had nice long areas to them that I'm going to cut into a dash. So I just got my scalpel, and I'm going to work with my T. I feel like that looks about right. I'm going to put my finger on top to keep it from flying. And there I've got a little dash. I'm going to place it to see if it needs trimmed or if it looks good. And I think that looks about right. So now, just like before, I'm going to pick each number up, dampen it, and place all the numbers back down, and then apply some pressure. So my letters and numbers have dried on, and just as a check, I'm going to use my microfine sanding pad and sand the top surface of my letters. And if they pop off, then they would have popped off after they were fired as well. So then you'd want to reattach them. So we'll see if these are attached. I'm just using a gentle circular motion. And this also will help them shine up really nicely once they're fired. So far, so good. So it looks like those are nice and attached. So this piece is ready to be fired. Cyprus copper clay is fired with a 2-phase firing schedule. For phase 1, place your piece on a wire rack or on top of your carbon and heat it at full ramp to 650 for 30 minutes. Next, put it on top of carbon and then pour more carbon on top of it, or if it was already on the carbon, just add more carbon on top. This time, we're going to full ramp up to 1600 and hold for 3 hours. Once my piece was fired, I darkened the low areas with patina gel before tumbling it to shine it up nicely. Cool Tools sells lots of different templates that you can use for the outside shapes of your pet tags. There are also loads of beautiful textures that you can choose from too to personalize them for your pets. I had a lot of fun making these sweet little pet tags for all the furry friends in my life. I hope you do too. Thanks for watching.
Visit our Learning Center at cooltools.us for more cool jewelry making videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to sign up for our email list to be the first to hear about new videos, new products, and other cool stuff from Cool Tools.